All right, welcome to the episode. This week we have Jason Bronstad of Malk Organics. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Michael, thank you so much for the time to have the conversation. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it as well. So you have a fantastic product, and everyone that listens to the podcast and my other social media, they know that I'm not big on a lot of products. I'm a whole food type of plant-based eater, so I'm not big on a lot of packaged products, but there are a lot of things that I do enjoy that are very good for you, and I believe that because they have limited ingredients, and your product speaks to that big time in your area. So let's start out first of all with your story coming to Malk Organics. You came there as a consult. You were consulting at first.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the fall of 2020, I was brought in as a consultant to step in and just dive in and figure out what's going on with Malk and what could we do differently to accelerate it to take this incredible brand that was born in Houston, Texas, and we at the time we had Whole Foods distribution nationally. We had some pockets of distribution elsewhere. But the ultimate question is, how could we put this amazing, clean, delicious product in front of more consumers? So, that began the journey, and it aligned with where my personal health journey was, my family's health journey. But when I stepped in, we were in around 1,700 stores that you could find Malk in 2020, and now we're approaching or surpassing 10,000 stores where consumers can find Malk, and that feels great, Michael. And here's the reality. There's 67,000 stores that sell plant-based milks.
Wow.
So we're just scratching the surface of the opportunity to deliver upon what we believe is our mission, and that is to give people clean, simple ingredient organic products that taste great.
Absolutely. And you're a small company in the grand scheme of companies, if I remember correctly, around 30 employees. Is that still the case?
Yeah, we're hiring right now. We're in the mid 30s. Maybe we'll be around 40 by the end of the year. But yeah, we are a sales and marketing organization that is supported by two outstanding, behind the scenes organizations, one in our operations side and one in our finance side. But really, the tip of the spear is sales and marketing to be out there to make sure that we're telling more consumers about Malk Organics and why it tastes great and why they should be buying it, as well as ensuring that the stores have it available.
Well, and I think that's a difficult thing to do. Isn't that the most difficult thing for most products is try to get the proper distribution?
That's the challenge. I mean, the ongoing comedy hour with buyers is like, hey, do you have a shelf stretcher? Because there's a finite amount of shelf space available. So is your product going to deliver better results than the one I'm taking off the shelf? That's the debate for generations with buyers. Is this product going to do more for my store and my results than what I have in there today? And Malk continues to deliver because we have outstanding consumers that say, hey, I've heard about it. I'm going to try it. I like it. I'm going to keep buying it.
Well, and I think in most categories of products on the shelf, never have we ever been at an era where there's so many brands. I mean, I remember when I was younger and I would go in the store, there maybe was three potato chips you could choose from, and now you probably have 40.
Yeah. I remember going into convenience stores as a kid and there was two, not one, two full doors of just Coke Classic, just red Coke cans or bottles or whatever. And that was it. There wasn't the Diet Coke, Diet Cherry. You had limited assortment. And now, because of there's so much creativity in the world that is so fantastic when it's with the healthy products. And it's great to see all these different brands that are launching that have limited ingredients. We launched a campaign, hashtag turn it around, because we want everybody to turn around their packaged goods and say, what am I putting in my body? What is this? Do I know what this does to my body? Yes or no? If I don't, I can look it up. I can ask questions. But is it serving me? Is it nourishing my body? Or is it causing inflammation potentially?
100%, and that's a big thing that I preach on my areas here, and I think that a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the ingredients, and we're going to get into some of your ingredients because I think that's the strong suit of this product. and the lack thereof, adding all these extra things that just are not needed. And it's usually those added ingredients, and I've talked about this many times, those added ingredients are the things that are causing the inflammation and causing some of the annoyances that people are feeling in their body. It's generally not the macronutrients of the product, it's usually the fillers and the additions. Would you agree with that?
First and foremost, I'm not a doctor, but we believe that as close as we can eat to that and how the product is grown. So with our unsweet almond product, it is water, organic almonds, and pink Himalayan salt. That's it.
That's it exactly. And I've tried the oat milk so far and absolutely love the oat milk. I love the flavor of it, and that is also three ingredients. So let's first of all, I want to find out where the name Malk came from because I believe, and I'm probably wrong, but I'm thinking up here in the Midwest, we have somewhat of an accent, and people have always kind of commented and kind of made fun of that people don't really say milk up here, they say Malk. And is that where that name came from?
So I love that iteration, and maybe we should lean into that some because I like that one a lot. So we were founded in Houston, Texas. We initially were commercialized at a farmer's market, and the founder was transitioning her son from mother's milk to something other than dairy milk. Started making it at home, then started selling it at the farmer's market. And it was quite simple. Started with almonds. So remove the I out of milk, put the A in for almonds. So it's almond milk.
Oh, I see. I see. Clever. Very clever. Very clever. Well, let's get into the product here because that's where the rubber meets the road, obviously. You mentioned something that I thought was very interesting is when you're out there trying to bring a new product to market and there's already a sea of other products that are very similar to yours, how do you stand out in that market? And what was your philosophy as I think you touched on it earlier, but explain again your philosophy as going into this market with this product, how we're going to stand out from everyone else.
So let's take a step back and talk about different product categories. Any product you buy, there's really three segments of it. You have the value tier, you've got the mainstream tier, and you have the premium tier. And you can look at it based on price points alone. You can start to segment out, be it chewing gum, beer, fruits. As you start to look at it, you can segment those out. And we knew that we had a premium product. Organic, not only is it the cleanest way you can eat today, it's also a very pricey proposition because organic farmers don't have the same yields as conventional farmers because they don't have the easy button of saying, oh, I'm going to put fertilizer on it. So there's a lower yield. It is more expensive to process because you have to ensure that every step through the process is organic certified so that they aren't cross-contaminating with conventional products that might have pesticides or GMOs in there. So inherently in the brand, we are Malk Organics. So we fall in that premium tier. Within plant-based milks, there had not been a clear leader in the premium tier before, Michael, and we saw it as an opportunity for Malk to go out there and provide consumers what they were looking for. There are brands, and there are still brands today that are dancing around it. But if you start to look at the assortment of their entire portfolio, you go, you stand for clean, simple ingredients here, but what about all these other products that you have gums, oils, fillers in? We stand alone to say, as the leader in growth, as the leader in the premium segment, you can indeed have simple ingredients, be organic, taste great, and consumers will find you and fall in love with you.
Well, when it comes to the ingredients, obviously being organic and like you said, everything is certified organic from every step of of the way. How do you guys go about also maintaining the gluten-free area of the oats and
Yeah.
how does that process look?
So the beautiful thing that we've done over the last 4 years, Michael, is we have forged relationships with the suppliers, the farmers, to understand because how these growers treat the earth matters and how it processes through all the way until we're able to put it into that bottle and deliver it to your local grocery store matters. So what I tell the team is we get to choose who we work with. We're not forced to work with anybody. If they don't align with our standards on, first of all, people, do they pass the layover test? One of my favorite things to ask my team is, hey, we're bringing on a new vendor. Okay, could you be stuck in a layover with them for 3 hours? Are they good people? So people first, Michael. Second, Then we have, like I said before, an incredible ops team that has decades of experience to ensure that as we're having these conversations, that the integrity of our brand throughout the entire process of the supply chain is upheld. You can't do any of that if you don't have the right people and if you're not working with the right people. So I always start with people, and that's why the approaching 40 people we have at Malk are so important to being able to provide you a great product. But those farmers, the suppliers that we work with, their integrity as they carry this organic product through the supply chain so we can deliver to you, it's what we look for. It's our job, and we hold that as our paramount responsibility to make sure everything is done the right way. So when you get it, you don't have any questions or concerns.
That's dynamite because that I can feel already just from this conversation that this is not a profit, even though all business is profit driven, but the core of this company is not profit driven. The core of this company is quality products that are good for you. Is that fair?
When we do the right thing, good things will happen.
I
So
love it.
we have an incredibly supportive board of directors that helps us to invest in advance into people. They help us to invest into inventory. They help us make sure that we're able to support and deliver on our expectations. And we have very high expectations of ourselves and of our partners.
No, I think that's great. I love that. I love that. When you talk about why would a company, because we see a lot of these other plant milks, and I've tried pretty much everyone out there. Why do since it's obviously able to be done without gums and oils, why is it that they do that? What is their purpose
Mhm.
to of a higher yield and using less of the core ingredient?
Yes, and so that's obviously one source of truth is you can look at the caloric content and the fat content, and you start to get a really good feel when you're comparing products side by side because the nutrients in plant-based products come from the base, be it almonds, be it oats, be it cashews. So that's step one. Step two is if you go back generations, I mean, when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, plant-based was like just starting. There's just plant-based milks. And the job of the brands at the time were to convert people from dairy consumers to plant-based. So how did they do it? Well, anytime you're trying to mimic a product, what is the mouthfeel? What is the texture? What is the sensory dynamics when I'm consuming this? So if you're trying to match the sensory dynamic of a whole milk, a almond milk won't match that inherently. So you have options. You can add gums, which are emulsifiers, which will bind it together. In oat milks, if you want the creaminess, you can add oils into it to bring some of that through. And that worked for a while. And at the time, did we know that might be disruptive to our gut health? I don't know if we did or not, but today we do. So let's do the right thing today going forward to make sure that we're making the simplest plant based product we can.
Well, and I think when you said because in my health journey, I tracked every calorie for many years, so I kind of
Mhm.
know what the caloric content of food is. And
Yeah.
the first thing that struck me when I looked at the label of your almond milk and the unsweetened, I believe, is 70 calories for 8 ounces, if I remember.
60 or
And
70, I don't recall.
yeah, it's right in there. I think, yeah. And so my brain right away went to, I mean, about 10 almonds is about 70 calories. So that told me when I see these other plant milks, especially almond milks, which got 30 calories in 8 ounces, and I would tell people, clients, there is almost no almonds in that glass of almond milk, whereas in yours, there's a lot of almonds. And I think
Our
that
P&L suggests that as well.
what's that?
Our purchase orders for almonds would suggest we put a lot in there.
Yeah, and same thing with the oats and the cashews, especially. You can tell that there is you're not drinking water with a tiny amount of almonds. Like you are drinking real cashew milk and real, full flavored, full bodied, and you're getting your money's worth 100%.
Yeah, and Michael, I gotta say, I'm on two screens right now, my laptop screen, and I keep smiling every time I glance down because I've got my reminders of why I do this. I've got my daughter and my son, my bride. So it's our first day of school picture and my wife. Um, this is the first brand that I've had an opportunity to be a part of where my children can have as much as they want.
Right. That's a good point.
And
Very
when
good
I
point.
think about evolving our family and providing my children the newest news that we have on health, my parents did an amazing job in the 80s and 90s based on what we knew then. And guess what? I was still a big husky kid. Most of my life, I was over 300 pounds. It wasn't my parents' fault. It was my choices. It's what I chose to put in my body. It's how I poisoned my body to an extent. I mean, there were times I would get a McDonald's cheeseburger on the way home minutes before I eat dinner with my wife because that was an outlet. It's like, I'm just going to grab a double cheeseburger because I can eat that in like 3 bites, and then I'll have 4 beers and then whatever my bride cooks for dinner. So there's choices that we make in life, and I'm not blaming anybody. I see this as an opportunity with my kids to explain and help them to understand and make the choices earlier in life. I started my health journey at 39. My daughter turns 12 in December. My son just turned 8. How can we bless their life and the lives of other kids by giving them something clean and healthy that tastes great? It's a lot of fun.
And you're teaching them how to look at food. That's what I try to teach everyone, is how to look at food and why food is works with your body and why it doesn't. And like you said, you can eat more of it. I tell people all the time, when you're eating clean foods that are made from natural sources, you don't have to really restrict the food. You can eat it. It's not going to hurt you. It's actually going to be good for you.
I absolutely love the creativity. Both my wife and my daughter make the most amazing salads. And my wife made one last night. There were some pumpkin seeds in it, and there's some fruit in it, and this homemade dressing. It was just 10 years ago, I would have turned my nose up at it because I'm like, oh, I'm not eating that. But now it's like, wow, it is such a joy to eat clean, healthy food.
Absolutely, and the way it makes you feel is definitely amazing as well, and that's probably one of the best things about it. When you talk about labeling, a couple things maybe you can shed some light, being in this industry.
Mhm.
What are some of the label? Because I talk about this, I have a series called Label Lies. I kind of break down some lies of the back of labels. And what are some things that you see in labeling that people try to get away with, that try to skirt the customer and kind of confuse the customer?
Well, you'd mentioned it earlier, and we've talked about SKU assortment. 30 years ago, there might have been 20, 25,000 SKUs in a store. In your average grocery store, now there's 45 to 50. So the attention span, someone walks up to a shelf, they know they're buying within a category. They're looking at that for like 6 seconds. So what are the claims on the front that are hip and on trend today? If we go back let's go back to the early 2000s, keto. If it said keto, people were buying it. So, what is it today? Is it protein? What is it? Whatever's on trend, people are trying to put up on the front pack, the big violator, new, low sodium, high protein, low fat. So they're using that 6-second knowledge. And what we chose to do on our package, Michael, is call out the organic at the top. We call out organic underneath the flavor band, and we have the organic USDA seal as well. So we say organic 3 times because we believe that is the most important dynamic as you walk to plant-based milks. Buy organic. Do your body a favor. So we like to focus on what we are and what we don't have in it. The other guys are going to make their claims. They've got staffs that their job is to drive sales through information, and it's probably factual. But how many companies are saying, hey, turn it around and actually look at the ingredient deck? That's what we want you to do, not just for us. We want you to do it for everything you have in your house. We want you to go to your refrigerator, pick up 5 things, turn it around and say, what are the ingredients that are in this packaged food that I'm consuming? And do I know what impact it has to my body? So there are label lies all over the place, Michael. And I don't like to bash my competitors. I like to rise above them and say, hey, we don't have gums, we don't have oils, and we're organic. We don't have gluten. We don't have glyphosate. We say no a lot, NO, Because there's a lot of things we don't include. And if we're signaling we don't include it, maybe that's what you should be looking for in our competitors.
How do you guys feel that? Because the one thing I also see on the front of the label is 3 ingredients. You know, you're listing right on the front before even someone even turns around in the back and says, "Look, you're only gonna see 3 ingredients when you turn when you turn it around. That's what you're gonna see."
Yeah.
So, and those ingredients are just usually the nut, the water, maybe. And one
Salt.
other thing I like that you guys use is you're not using natural flavors.
Oh,
Speak a
goodness.
little bit about that because I think you had a good story that you told about how you came because you guys were trying to do the natural flavors thing for a little bit, weren't you, before you went to the extract?
So we did. We did some consumer testing in call it mid 2021. And so, what do you think about the flavor? And on our vanilla, everyone's like, "Hey, we want more vanilla." I'm like, "Great, we can just turn this dial up." We launched, went to retail, and it was a Monday after Thanksgiving. Consumers have an epic backlash on social media, going, "Malk, what is wrong with you? What have you done? You're not who you said you are. You now have natural flavors in your product. That's not Malk." And between Monday and Friday, not only did we have a crisis PR firm because we were overwhelmed with the backlash, we had our formulation partners in the background get us new formulations by Thursday that the board and I approved on Friday. So within 5 days, we reformulated to use organic vanilla extract. And within 6 or 7 weeks thereafter, we were at shelf with the updated packaging and formulation. So look, we had write downs, we had write offs, we had labels we had to get rid of, we had, natural flavor that we had to get rid of. And it was all the right thing to do. It codified who we are as a company. We will not take those shortcuts. We will not violate the trust that our consumers gave us another chance at. And we hold that sacred. And those are our people. They're the ones that held us up and said, "This is not who you are. Don't forget who you are." And in that moment, that week, that was a heck of a week. And I'll never forget, Michael, that week I interviewed our chief revenue officer. And I said, "Hey, I just want to be transparent. This is what's going on right now." She's like, "Oh, yeah, I've seen it." I'm like, "And here's the numbers." I said, "I need someone to come run sales for us." And, she said, "Let's go." And it's been an awesome journey ever since. It's large in part to her and the team that she's hired that we've gone from, call it 2,000 stores to over 10,000 stores.
Well, I think I heard you say on another interview I watched you said that the natural flavor process is a proprietary blend from the company, so you really don't really know what exactly is in it, and obviously that goes completely against your philosophy of the company, 100%.
So that's with anybody that uses natural flavors, organic natural flavors, any combination of the like, that is owned proprietarily by the flavor house. So a brand, doesn't matter what brand you are, will never know exactly the science behind it.
Sure. No, that's a very important point I think that people need to keep in because as soon as well, it's all natural, so, that means it's good for me, so because the label says it's all natural and it's natural flavors. So a couple more things just on the product here. You have creamers and you have all the nut milks that you have and the oat milk, and then
Mm.
you have what's called a shelf stable. So explain to everyone how you make that process work to where this doesn't have to be refrigerated, correct?
Until you open it,
Until you
correct.
open it, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, so the real magic there, it's in the packaging. So Tetra is the manufacturer of the packaging. They've got proprietary packaging with multiple layers to keep the integrity of the product safe and sound inside while at ambient or room temperatures. And one of the things that we found as we were looking at ideation and innovation is, hey, we want to be in all the stores where plant-based milk is sold. And what we started to realize is we had what we called Malk deserts, like places you just couldn't find Malk within 100 miles. Got a friend in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the time. I think we're getting closer to him now with our refrigerated, but he's like, I have to drive to Oklahoma City to get Malk. So it was with those consumers in mind. And then we started looking at the shelf stable set, Michael, and going, well, these consumers, there's a subset of consumers that want plant based and shelf stable, but they didn't have an organic offering. They didn't have the option for that premium, clean, simple ingredient. So we have the same formulation in that as we do in our refrigerated. So there's no cutting corners. It's simply the packaging that allows us to sit on the shelf and not have any additives in there.
Well, and does that also open up, it's more places to put it in the store? Because now it doesn't have to only be in the refrigerated, cooler. It can also be on the shelf, in another area of the store, end cap or what have you.
Absolutely. So it's an opportunity for branding. It's an opportunity for displays. And at the end of the day, the vast majority of our volume's over in refrigerated. And that's okay because now we actually have an offering on Amazon for the first time ever that we are selling as a company is through Amazon. So now I can ship you a six pack, and our pricing team or sales and marketing team just got a little more aggressive recently on our price point there on Amazon. So it's something that, again, we're opening up the opportunity for consumers wherever they are. We want to meet them where they're at with an offering that tastes great, clean, simple ingredients, and is organic.
That's awesome. No, I love all of that. I love the product. The oat milk's the only one I've tried so far, but I'm sure I'm gonna like the almond milk. What I really liked about the oat milk was the taste of it. And I've tasted a lot of plant milks in my lifetime,
Mm, yeah.
and they usually taste like water with a slight hint of whatever the nut or the grain is. And then usually I can kind of taste the fillers in there a little bit. But this one tasted like I was drinking oatmeal, to be honest with you. It had a really, really good oatmeal taste to it. It really did, as I could taste the oats. One question I have about you about that product, though, I'm not a sugar phobe. There are a lot of people that are sugar phobes out there, so it would be remiss to me if I did not, for my listeners, mention this. I noticed 5 grams of sugar in the oat milk, but I don't know where that's coming from because a half a cup of oats is only 1 gram of sugar, and there's not
So,
two and a half cups of oats in the 8 ounces of glass. That's for sure.
so in order to translate actual oats into an oat milk, it's processed very gently to where it can actually be water soluble. In that process, it releases the natural enzymes and sugars in that product. And the FDA regulation is if it is to be classified as added sugars.
Wow, that's the FDA.
So we're following the letter of the law as
Sure.
all of our competitors do as well. Our
Right.
packaging integrity is there, and it's you know what that is the way that we shall label it. That is the test results. That is what it is. We will list it as you tell us to as added sugars. It's all from the oats.
Yeah, it's all from the oats, exactly. And nothing's been added to it, so that you could see how a consumer could be confusing on that. They could
Yeah,
look and say 5 grams
it,
of added sugars, but it's really not added, like you didn't add sugar in it.
yeah,
So where's the sugar if it's only 3 ingredients? But it is really only 3 ingredients. And I will say
from the
this,
oats.
it
Yeah.
doesn't taste sugary. So when I looked at the label, I'm like 5 grams added sugar. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But now you just explained it, and I think I didn't know that, and I think a lot of my listeners never knew that is part of the FDA's rules. Correct?
It is, and it's the most common question we get on oat too. So thank you for bringing it up and hitting that one head on. And what I'll always say is, go look at all the competitors.
Yeah.
Turn theirs around too,
Oh, for
because
sure,
some
for sure.
choose to stack on top of the natural occurring sugars with incremental sugar. Why?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And I think for a lot of people that are transitioning from a dairy milk to a plant-based milk, like you said earlier, there are some things, texture things, and things that they're hoping to find that are going to be close if they're
Mhm.
going to make a change. And I think the sugary flavor, especially if you're doing a chocolate milk or something of that nature, people are going to be looking for that hit of flavor.
100%. And look, as we look at sweeteners, we use coconut sugar. We use coconut sugar in our chocolate almond. We use coconut sugar in our creamers because it has the lowest glycemic index, and we feel that is the best sweetener application. We also use maple syrup in our holiday nog, which is launching here next month.
You just said the two magic words to me. Because I love a good plant nog, and I have one I've been drinking for a very long time, so I definitely wanna try yours.
So we have our pumpkin spice is at retail right now. So this is
Yep.
our year one for pumpkin spice. It'll be year two for our holiday nog. So we're really excited to have a lot of fun with that one.
Awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Well, just run down a quick list of all the products that you have, because I know you have some creamers too that I probably didn't get
Sure.
to, but just run down for everyone before we sign off here.
Yeah, the assortment looks like this. In the almond varietal, we have unsweet almond, vanilla almond, and chocolate almond. In the oats, we have original oat as well as vanilla oat. We have a cashew. We also have shelf stable of the unsweet almond and the original oat. And then we have three creamers that we just launched as well. And those three creamers are the vanilla almond creamer. We have a caramel almond creamer and a lightly sweetened oat creamer. And all three of those, we didn't launch as a whitener. We launched as a creamer. Because of the coconut sugar within there, Michael, it all of them look the same as far as color. They're all a little bit darker brown because of the natural color that is in coconut sugar.
And that's a good point, because a lot of people they're gonna put it in there and it's not turning super white like the
Yeah,
the, the colored stuff is, even the dairy-free stuff that you can put in your coffee that comes in a packet and you turn around and you see that there's actually dairy in it, even though it says dairy-free on the on the package.
we stand behind our label, so you don't ever have to worry about that with Malk. Like I said, it's a people first organization. We care about you. We care about who's consuming it at the end of the day, and our job is to make sure it's easier for you to find it.
Well, that's a good point, because you can go to your website and you can type in your zip code and it will tell you exactly, because that's how I found where to find it near me right down the street here. So you can go in there, you can find out where you can find it. But with the shelf stable stuff, you can also just go to Amazon and can order from there as well, correct?
100%. Yes, sir.
So outside of the new nog that's coming out, what's the future hold for you guys? What's next for you guys?
We've got some exciting innovation. My ops team is working on some trials right now. So, here in about 6 months, we'll have some new exciting news. We typically have our big unveiling at our Natural Products Expo West in Anaheim. So, first week of March, you can come see us out there if you're in the industry. But shortly thereafter, we should be coming to retail with some new exciting expansion items. But for now, we encourage people to turn it around. Go look not only at your plant-based products, but look at everything that's packaged in your house. Turn it around and think about how you're nourishing yourself and your family as you move forward throughout the day.
All good advice. Well, I'll tell you, like I said earlier in the podcast, I don't eat or drink a lot of packaged foods. It's just not my thing. But there are a few things that I've really fallen in love with, and it always starts with a company like yours that is honest in their labeling and honest with their customers about what is in the product that I can get behind, especially when it's limited ingredients. So I applaud you guys for coming out and coming out with a fantastic product. I really love it, and I'm going to push the heck out of it for you guys. So.
Well, we appreciate that. You keep doing what you're doing, spread the good word, educate people. This is our chance to take our health back into our control, and we should go do that.
Couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much, Jason Bronstad from Malk Organics. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Take care, and best of luck to all your listeners.